So good evening, everybody. It is finally here. We are starting on the tractor. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this for ages. We've been planning it for even longer. I've been printing the parts off, and all I've got to do is get in there and build it. So we have a very special guest today. He goes under many names. Sometimes we call him Mr. Mod. Sometimes I call him Horlicks. I think he's even been called Adrian. But today I'm just going to simply call him Fleetwood J.
Hey everyone.
How are you?
Hey everyone. Yeah, I'm okay.
So are you as excited as me then?
Should be fun, yes. Can't wait to go ploughing the fields in the spring.
Yes. Right, now I am going to give a little bit of a disclaimer. There's going to be an awful lot to talk about, and there's not going to be a massive amount of building, because what I've done is I've gone through for the tractor, I've gone through all the instructional videos, and I think it's going to be easier to split each video into 3. And obviously we're trying to stick to a rough budget, which I am completely useless at sticking to that budget in the early weeks, but we're getting so much done early on that there isn't much to do later on. So we'll be overspending at the beginning, and then as it goes on, we'll build the budget up. So if you're doing this like a pocket money toy and your mum or dad's giving you, say, 15 quid a week pocket money, you'll be overdrawn. It'll cost you more than 15 quid. But then in later weeks, you'll be able to say to your parents, oh, I don't need 15 quid. That £5 or that 100 quid I owe, 30 quid I owe you, pay 5 quid of that off. So it all works out in the end. I think it works out about £11 a week over the course of the project. So, right. Anything to tell us, Fleetwood, before we start?
Not really. Looking forward to it, and should be a good build.
Yes.
Long time planning.
Long time planning, yes, but it's needed.
Shame that Horlicks is not here to see his little tractor being built, but I'm sure he will come along.
But I feel that Horlicks will be back with us in weeks rather than months, and I feel that because of the speed that we're going to be doing it, we'll be able to he'll be able to catch up, no problems. And we have a surprise guest who's just turned up. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Dave Say.
Hello.
Oh,
sorry for being late.
No, it's okay. People have lives. I think the only people that don't understand that is my workplace.
Did you miss the tractor, Dave? Did you?
Pardon?
Did you miss the tractor? Did you?
I did, yeah, it was a bit slow.
I will just say my disclaimer again for the benefit of Dave, so anyone else that might have missed it. There's going to be an awful lot of looking at things and preparing and doing things. There's not going to be a massive amount of building because the way that I've split things down, it's mainly to do with costs. And basically what will happen, the parts that we need for next week, we're already going to be over budget this week, so it's just going to smash it. So build wise, it might be boring. No, we don't use the word boring, do we? It could be a slow build issue this week, but there'll be weeks when things just happen. So I'm going to go through the comments right quick just to catch up before we get completely out of track. So we've got Chris Camplin gets the award for the first. He's made the first comment just to prove it. There it is. We've got Love Mini saying hi all. P40F20 says hi everyone. Adrian Langley says hello. Chris Davies. Verwayne says hello. James Tubrady, evening friends. This is going to be a little bit more up James Tubrady Street because James Tubrady is an R2D2 builder. 3D printing, so basically doing the same project I am. So whereas he enjoys the part works, this is something that he may be able to get his teeth into. James, just out of curiosity, are you building this as well, or are you just watching? So Love Minis, just in case I didn't mention her earlier. Gordy B is on. Hello. Chris Davies is asking about people's thoughts on him doing the issue 57 Route Master. I'll bring that question up when we finish the tractor. and then we just do the general chit chat. Chris, do me a favor. If I do forget, please ask the question again. I try not to forget, but you know I always do. Harvey De Niro is here. Hello, Harvey. And Love Mini says, Dave Say. See, we love you, Dave. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is on. Hello, Dave. And Levi Otter is here. And the chat has just gone. So let's see if I can. Right, here we are. Levi Otter says looks interesting. Harvey De Niro says I'll be in and out. That's fine. There's a few shows I watch where I do a process where I call lurking, which is you've got the show on, but you're not you've got it on in the background. Maybe you're tidying your room up or whatever nice things you're doing. So James Tuberty says I could actually make it. I didn't think about that. That's fine. So if you want to take part, we will go over the bits over and over every week. The electronics are the hardest bit because to get them most cost effective, you need to get them from Banggood or somewhere where they take about 4 weeks to arrive. So I can't say these electronics you need for next week.
I've gone mostly eBay on mine. Yes,
yeah,
a bit more, but
you get them quicker.
Yeah, that's the choice. You either go Banggood, wait, or eBay, pay a bit more, but sellers in the UK. You know what I mean? So
exactly. Oh, Harvey's got his wire strippers. Can you believe this? Harvey was asking me advice on wire strippers. So I feel brilliant. So normally I do off-topic things towards the end, but I'm gonna do a little quick review of the screwdriver. I've had a little chance to play with it, and the reason I'm going to do it before the tractor is because we're going to be using it for the tractor. So I actually really love it. Is my final summary before I actually look at it, and I will explain why. So here we have, I'm sorry it's a poor view. Actually, would you object to me putting you on the small screen, you two?
No.
Screen, and if I do that, that then gives me... So this is my screwdriver in the little case that I've made. I am going to reprint this. And what you get with it is this lovely little magnetic mat, which is absolutely brilliant. I don't know why they gave us this screw part. It looks nice, but I've got to be honest with you, it doesn't serve much function for me, but that's probably mainly because I've got my screws organized in little pots and things. But you can see how it's the magnetic is really, really good.
Oh, wow.
So if you work over that mat and you drop your screws, that's where they're going to land.
Yeah.
Actually, this give me a chance. I'll come back to that in a moment. You get a magnetizer and demagnetizer. I guess there are situations where you want a demagnetized screwdriver. I can't totally demagnetize the... whoops, you can see how good the magnet is, can't you? It's picked up all the screws. I haven't been able to completely demagnetize the screwdriver heads, but I have managed... It magnetizes really well. You get a little charging cable, which this is the only negative bit for me, is the length of it. It's very, very short. However, it's a very common connection. You could buy one of these from Poundland.
Is it a mini USB, isn't it?
It's the standard. Yeah. I mean, look, it's the one my R2D2 comes with a massive cable. And I've also got them laying around it. You know, if you've owned mobile phones in the past to the point you've upgraded to a new one, you've probably got an old mobile phone charging cable. So it's not a massive negative. It's just I think that's a little bit naff for the length. I mean, look, it's about the same length as the screwdriver. So, you know, if you put it on the stand and then have it into charge, you can see there you've not got an awful lot of cable length left to whatever you... Yeah, that's unless you have it against the wall where the socket is, you are going to need a longer one. But you know, that's not a major negative. In fact, if I was marking this out of 10, that wouldn't affect the score for me. This is the 67 one rather than the basic one. Most of this I won't actually use. But you've got these 2 bits for mobile phones. So if you're removing screens, for example, you've got, I call this a splodger, because that's what someone else calls it. So if you're trying to remove a screen, you can get that into the corner once you've undone the screws, and that just helps you lift that up. And then you have this bit as well, which you stick onto the screen. So if you're trying to remove a screen, you stick that on. You get this into the corner. Once you lift it up, you can then lift it up with this bit. Something that I'm probably not going to use very often because I don't have the confidence to play with phones. But if you're a mobile phone repair person,
wouldn't that sucker come in handy with a Routemaster? You know, like the metal panels. If they're big enough, you know, you can suck it on. And
you know what? That actually, yes. I mean, I won't throw it away because you're always going to have some, you know, oh, I wish I had some kind of splodgery thing. So yeah, we'll bear that in mind one day.
Or even the windows, you know, if we got to put a window in, you could use it to hold the window in while you.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably hold it better in that position and then put the window in like that rather than trying to hold it and you got your fingers.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, nice one there, Fleetwood. Right. So you've got the main screwdriver. Sorry, you've got the base. And when I saw this, my first thought, you know, when I saw it online, I thought it'd be no good because look, you've got a rounded bottom, and you thought, oh, that'll tip over, but it's actually really nicely weighted, and you've got this. It's not really sticky rubbery. Oh, actually, it's got. Oh, tell you what, take back that comment because this is removable protective cover. Right. So actually, you've got quite a nice rubbery bit, so it is going to give a little bit of grip, and given the lightness of the screwdriver. All right, so I could knock that over, but you know, a gentle knock isn't going to knock that. You see how tough it is. So it is actually a really good base. On my little case thing, it goes in there, and then you've got the actual wow stick, and it's actually a really good name for it because it is a bit of a wow. The way you hold it, you know, no matter how you hold a screwdriver. If you use it like a pen, it'll work quite well. So, and if you use it like that, you can sort of Doctor Who style sonic screwdriver. And it has this lovely little LED. Now, I believe yours didn't, Fleetwood. This is I thought that if you spend more money and get a better kit, you get more bits. But one of the upgrades is the LED, which is it worth it? Is it not? I don't know because
I think it is.
Well, how many here builds partwork models in the dark to the point that they do need that? Oh, it's a good job I've got that light because I can't be bothered to go and turn the lights on in my workspace.
True.
So,
but if you're doing a lot of black on black, then that will come in handy.
Yeah, it is pretty bright. Let me go and turn the lights out. It won't be totally dark because I've got bits and bobs running, but so yeah, you can just about see that there's a tiny bit of light, and
oh wow,
it is actually a rather bright. I mean, I'm tempted to say very useful for the circuit box if your power's cut, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't use this screwdriver. I would just keep a torch and a couple of screwdrivers by the circuit, you know, by the fuse box.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, oh no, I forgot to pay the electric bill. Never mind, I can still do my part works.
Sure.
So the one thing I was concerned, stroke semi-concerned about or actually, I'll show you these bits as well. So it comes with a load of what do you call them? Screwdriver bits. That'll do, won't it? And what I actually really like, there's a lot more thought gone into this than you think. For us part work builders, we've got tube number 1, and this contains only posi head. Is it posi head screws? I call them Phillips screws.
Yeah.
Flathead screwdrivers and the little hex keys, which is the ones that I personally use the most, especially the crosshead ones and the hexagonal heads. So for me,
the tube itself is magnetic as well, isn't it?
I didn't know that. I thought they were quite rubbery.
Yeah, they are, can be magnetic as well. Mine is on mine.
What, on the top and bottom?
No, the actual, you know where the screwdriver bits go in?
Right.
Mine is actually magnetized as well.
I don't know if that was meant to do that, but it does now. No, the holder isn't. For me, the holder is rubber.
Oh, okay. Mine's magnetized because when I put mine in, mine's snapping, you see.
Okay, so I think I like yours better then in that sense. Because some of these, they're not a brilliant fit, and they can, well, they're not too bad. But when I opened some of the tubes, some of them had fallen out.
Yeah.
So, but I like this tube, but I'm going to be using this tube 99% of the time. This tube has got more star-shaped bits rather than, I don't know if you can see those. I personally haven't got any use for those at the moment, but you never know. And there's some tiny, I think these might be mobile phone bits. They're really, really small. This is a Y1, whatever a Y1 means. And this last one, I'm not even going to speculate what they are because I haven't got a clue. But we've got some more flathead ones. And we've got these. Are these security bits?
Yeah, they are. They're security screws. Yes.
Yeah. So again, I probably won't use them, but one day if I get to come across a situation where I need them, I'll be really glad I've got them. And then here you've got some basic bits that are just a little bit longer, which is, I suppose, handy. So yeah, they may get used. And if you've already got a screwdriver, what's really, really good is that the parts fit. So if that's not enough, go for your favorite screwdriver and use those bits. And I got to admit, I've been using this screwdriver bit because I've become really attached to this J1 screwdriver bit. That's done me so well in the Routemaster. That's just usually the first one I go for. So I'm going to do a demo with it using that part. So there we go, magnetizer. I've never used a magnetizer before, but you just see that obviously because you've got the magnetic pad, I can't lift those up. But if I might be using this wrong, and I'm sorry if I do, but what I've just done is just a couple of rubs along there, and you can see how much stronger it is.
Yeah.
And then if you rub it along the demagnetizer, you can see how it completely loses. Well, see, you've still got some magnetizing, but it's lost a lot of it. I'm guessing you'd use a demagnetized screwdriver if you're doing electrical components, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we tend to use the magnetic ones more often. So I really, really like that. I'm really impressed with it. But the last thing I just want to show you is the torque, which is something that I was a little bit concerned about. But I think having played with it, it's actually all right. And not having proper scientific testing equipment, I've devised this testing equipment. which is just a wing nut and a screw. And I'll use the large screw that I had somewhere. And again, you may feel what one person feels is good about it, you may feel is poor. Because one of my, right, just putting that in. So you can see there, it's not super fast. It's faster than turning by hand. But then again, do you really want it to be really fast?
No.
I don't think you do.
No.
But when you've got screws of that length, and that is the wrong thread, I think. Oh well. I think I was putting an M3 into an M4 wing nut there. Or maybe I wasn't. Yeah, I think I was. Right, so that's interesting. Oh, you know what I've done, don't you? I've just screwed a hexagonal bolt in with a posi head screwdriver. Tighten up, but it was.
You did a perfect demonstration with me, Penny.
I did actually, didn't I? But I used the smaller screw. I wanted to use that one so you could see the speed of it. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think that's just the right speed, or do you think it's a bit slow? At the end of the day, it's faster than hand screwing. So I guess really we couldn't complain about it.
No, but like I said to you off stream, it's slow enough to be precise.
Yes,
not
it
fast
is
enough that it's not sliding off and you're scratching up your part work or whatever you're trying to do, sitting there crying, thinking, crikes, I've just wrecked me bits, you know.
So, right.
Yeah.
So you're screwing, you're either doing it into metal or you're doing it into plastic. Now, obviously, one of the issues we've got is I'm always saying don't screw too hard because you might crack the plastic, the acrylic, or whatever you're screwing into. Now, with this, it is torqued. And you see there, that's now gone. Whoops. See, obviously, this would be a part that isn't moving, but you can see there that that's gone as fast as it can, as far as it can. If that's plastic, you'll probably find that's in just enough. That is in tight. You see, I can't unscrew it by hand. That might just be because I'm weak, but I can't unscrew that by hand. If that was a metal part and I want that in really tight, I can now move it. You see, I got about 1/8 of a turn out of that.
Yeah.
Right. Now, because that's been screwed in by hand, the screwdriver now isn't strong enough to undo it because of the low torque.
Yeah.
So you need to just start it by hand. There you go. And then finish it off with the screwdriver.
Yeah.
And again, I'll do that again. That's in quite tight. I can't just see how weak I am. Right, so I can move that by hand. But when I tighten it up as far as I can naturally with a screwdriver without hand turning it, that's just the power of the screwdriver. That screw is in tight enough.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, I've not tested it on a part work yet, but I think that torque is just right. It's not going to break plastic parts. And then you've got that lock inside where it doesn't go against it. It's got like a motor lock thing. You know, you can't turn it.
Yeah.
So you actually finish it off by hand. And then that way you've got that little reassurance. If you're anything like me, you trust yourself more than you trust machines.
Yeah.
It's like when I worked in a care home and we used to do blood pressures, and we used to have a machine to take blood pressures. And at the end of the day, I actually preferred to do blood pressures by hand because especially when these machines, you do it 3 times and you get 3 different readings.
Yeah.
So again, if I've got to just turn it a little bit more, then I know it's done.
Yeah.
Right. So
That's
talk to time. So this week's build, what we're going to have to do, I'm going to go through the parts that we're going to print off. I've chucked them all into I've chucked all these parts into week 1. So I kind of did a little bit of a practice. Right, P40F20 says might still be too much for screwing into plastic. Could possibly strip the threads. Yeah, exactly. Until we actually use it on partworks, I can't give you a definite answer of how good or bad it is.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, but using a wing nut, because obviously, you know, the only torque I can give it is my hand, and you can see at first it does, but if you hold that wing nut down, you know, that's how much torque I can give it. Bear with me one sec. Oh, sorry. Adrian's just sent me a picture or a news article about an overturned bus, so I'll save the sad news. Yeah, right. Yeah. So let me just move my tabs around just for ease of access. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a pretend print. So I'll show you how I would put all the prints onto the print bed. We'll then go through the electronic and mechanical parts and the screws, and then we'll do the build, and then we'll go through week 2, and then that should be the end of the show. So stop screen, share screen, Chrome tab, and right. So these are the parts that we need for this week. This is a list of the printed parts. I believe that you can find the link to this spreadsheet in the Facebook group, but I will post it at some point anyway. So yeah, I didn't even do that actually. Right, so yeah, look on the spreadsheet. We're on week 1 at the moment. You can see that we are, in case you can't read it, this week is going to cost £26.63. That's based on the filament that I've used, which is £20.40 per kilo. The electronic and mechanical parts that I've bought, and the screws and the nuts. Obviously, if you can get them cheaper, that'll bring the cost down. If you can't get them cheaper, it's going to push the cost up, obviously. So let's do some pretend printing then.
Go for it.
Here's one I made earlier.
Yeah, well, what I call pretend printing is that I'm going to bring it all up on Cura, but I'm not actually going to send it to print.
Yeah.
So, right. So, can you all see that okay? Because, yeah, you can. Like, lovely.
Yeah.
So, the parts, right. Basically, what I'd originally said was to put all the parts on, all the black parts and then all the silver parts. But I think what's going to be easier, because they won't all go onto one print. So I just want to see, can you see my opening up the file opening screeny thing, whatever you want to call it?
At the top?
Yeah, I'm opening files at the moment. Can you actually see that?
No.
No.
So when my screen does absolutely nothing, you're just going to have to trust that I'm opening files up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, so I'll start off with the prints that we need for this week, which is piece number 1, the lower chassis. And I can never remember these parts until I actually bring them in. So I bring all 4. They've got 4 parts very similarly named. So that's actually the wrong part. Sorry, bear with me. Oh, I don't want to start a new project. I want to open files. Right, open files. So you've got, like, piece number 2 is called 2019A to 2019B, and I can never remember which one is which. So, right. So these are the parts that we're going to need this week. accept that. Now it claims that none of these pieces need printing on supports. Sorry, my screen's doing funny things. But this particular piece here, whoops, trying not to resize it. Right, this piece there, which is 2001, 201, 2019, the gear bracket, I feel a little bit more comfortable printing it flat, like so.
Yeah.
And then this one, we actually need two of them. This is, I can't move it. Why can't I move it? Because I've got it on rotate. Oh, right. So again, this is another one that I feel comfortable printing flat, but we do need two of them. So lay it flat and then just right click on it, multiply select objects, and then we'll just multiply it once. And then that way it multiplies it in the same orientation and you don't need to turn two of them. And there it is there. And oddly enough, this one, the motor coupler, I actually like to print that upright. It makes it a more risky print, but if you lay a tube on its sides, you run the risk of having a flat spot on it. And then you've got this piece there. You've got this little gap underneath, and you'd be thinking, oh, you need supports, but I printed it without supports and it works fine. You might get a little bit of bridging issue under there, but this is actually going inside the chassis. So now these parts I've said to do in, I've actually said to do the more, this piece there in black, and then these pieces in silver. But in actual fact, these pieces, 200 to 203, they'll be hidden. So you can do them in any color you want. I've actually done mine in yellow. So I'm just going to wait for that to slide. I do apologize. It's going to take a little bit longer than normal.
That's all right. You could sing us a song while we're waiting.
I could. Well, I'm not going to. So, no, sorry, I have listed these all as black. And I would do these in black because, you know, you stick them on. But this will give you all the parts that we'll need for this week. This will give you more than enough parts for this week. So if you haven't got all week access to the 3D printer, this is the minimum that you need to print. But obviously, if you don't print the other parts, you'll need to print them at some point. And that is, let me just check my settings because I have been doing some printing today. So I've got no supports on. So I'm just checking the settings I would have changed today if I've been doing some printing. Yeah, right. So that is how long my printer will take to do those parts. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. The next pieces you'll need, and you won't get these done in one print bed. Sorry, my computer's getting really slow. Right. So we don't need to do, I think it's these two. So I'm doing this from memory. Right, so this is piece number 1 and the remaining piece number 2. I've got a feeling you won't get this on a small print bed. My computer's just freezing up now. Oh, there you go, you will. So this is piece number 1, the lower chassis, which I think is this piece. And this is actually upside down from how it will be in the end. And then this is the remaining. This is piece 2, 2019 upper chassis, part 1. And
Yeah.
This is going to be a long print. This is a Sunday print. I'm lucky. I can trust my computer enough to walk away from it. But if you don't feel you can walk away from yours, then this is going to be a Saturday or a Sunday print. Or in other words, a print where you're going to be sitting at home all day.
Yeah.
I tried to get no more than one long print, and then all the rest can be broken down into about 3 or 4 hours. But as I said, there is a lot of printing this week, for which I apologise.
But once it's done now, isn't it?
Once it's done, it's done. And a lot of these parts will sit in a box for many weeks waiting for you to use them. And I know I always say I hate doing that with partworks, but it gets... One of the main things I'm concerned about is getting that 100 quid saved up for the receiver. So there you go. It's a 13-hour print for those parts. And again, these don't need supports because a lot of these parts, like this piece there where the red is, if that was coming out at 90 degrees to the wall, then I would say, yeah, put supports on. But because it's coming up at an angle, it actually does print rather nice. So let's chuck the rest of the black pieces on, which will be, you can't see this, so ignore me. 16 the rear hook, 21 the steering wheel, and 40 the rear steering, the rear arm holder. And that will give you just 3 pieces. Again, you might decide to put these in with the previous print or split the 2 prints so that this second print will take longer, but the third print I'm doing now will take longer, but the second print will be quicker. I think we're talking about 2 or 3 hours for this, if that. So it is very boring waiting for it to slice, and it's a lot quicker slicing when I'm offline. 50 minutes, there you go. So I'd probably be more inclined to stick that in with the previous print.
Yeah.
Right, so then we'll pop the silver parts on, and I can't remember if we need to split this into 2. So we'll give it a go. So we've got pieces 3, 4, 6A, 6B, 7, 8, 9, or 7 and 8. I'll just pop those on the print bed. There's a reason I missed one of the prints out. Right, then we want to go back to piece 5, and the reason I'm going to do that one separately is because we actually need 2 of them, and it's going to be quicker just to go multiply and do it that way. So anytime you like, computer, there we go. So the second one's appeared just there. Then we will open up. I'm pretty sure these won't all fit on the print bed, but chuck them all on and then work it out, take out what's too much. Right, so piece number 9 is well, you've got a choice of piece 9, or in fact, tell you what, I'll chuck them both on once to show you. We've got a piece there which is a badge that says 165 on, and then this one says 160D. Pick which one you want to use and print 2 of them. I think that's to do with the version numbers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so the next piece we want, front grid, right, servo arm. We want, where is it? Right, there we go. It's this piece here. This is number 11. This can actually be done in any color you want, but you know, we've got it in this print, and we actually want 3 of those. So I'm going to multiply that. I'll do 2 copies, and that will give us 3. Okay, that is really taking a long time. I think my computer dying on me again. Yeah, it's a bit of lag on it. So yeah, 3 servo arms. So we've got, I'm going to leave 12A and 12B for a second print. I know they're going to be too much. 14 and 15, which is a rear arm and a rear plate. And then we want 17, which is the front chassis reinforced. I will show you these parts. 18 front badge. 23 and 23B, which are right and left fender arms. I've actually printed mine in the wrong color, but I will show you my black one. And then you've got the rear axle. You've got 3 kind of axles, and there's only one that you need. So these pieces there in the top, they're the fender holders. And there we go. This is the axle. You need 2 of these. And the reason you want, I think there's 3 versions, as I said, but you want the one with a hole on it, in it. And that's because that's where the differential is going to go. And then you screw it in. So this end there will have the diff. And then this end will have the wheel on the end. So I'll just take this piece off. That can go in with the next batch, I think. Sorry. And then I'll just do a quick arrange all models, and that'll just move things around on the bed for me. There you go. I think that's got everything in. Right, so that's all your silver pieces. So you can see we've got the front end of the tractor there, and most of these parts are to do with the steering. So I'll go into more detail when we get to those parts. So this is the bit where somebody, not me, sings a song while we're waiting for it to...
Not me either.
Let's see if I can get away with it. There we go.
Well, Chris Davis couldn't sing a song.
What? Wheels on the track to go round and round?
Yeah.
So I'll do a little quick catch up on the chat. So Gordy B, he's probably gone now, but he says, sorry guys, something's come up. Again, that's not a problem. You don't need to apologize. We all have a life.
Yeah.
Spodgy thing. We all like a good rub. So yeah, that's basically it. I have no idea what that means, Chris. 5EEI can fix it. Is that a play on the old MacDonald had a farm, EIEIO?
True. Might be.
So can anyone... Oh, sorry. Yeah. Does anyone remember the print times so far? Was it about 12 or 13 hours for the first one?
Yeah.
And an hour for the second print?
That's it, yeah.
Right. So this isn't going to be mega short, but it won't be the longest print. I'm going to test my skills now, and I'm going to say 7 hours.
Wow.
One of the drawbacks of 3D printing is it's not the fastest process. It's absolutely brilliant when you got the final result, but it's not the fastest.
I wouldn't have a clue. I would say about 8 hours to print all that lot.
Okay, well, you're not far off, not far different from me.
No.
I'm currently printing off 10 boxes like this with lids, and that's the 13-hour print. So you get the results. It's just you have to wait for them. Oh, yeah. To be honest with you, Chris, I'm getting a new one soon, very soon, fairly soon. But also, I didn't do a reboot before the stream, and that usually has a good effect. I have got a little message in the bottom of my screen that says, please reboot your computer so that we can do updates.
Oh, don't. Mine's done 2 Windows 10 as updates today. Massive ones.
Updates scare me because every time I do a Windows update, it gives something different happens at startup. So I was way out. That's 11 hours. Let's call that 12 hours for convenience. And then the final prints will be trying to think what they are. The motors, left and right motor, 12A, 12B, and the front chassis reinforced. Apparently this is new for the 2019 model. So these are large prints, but as you can see, they're not very tall. So these two parts are going to be for the side of the tractor, and this little protrusion there is going to be for the, I'm going to call it a exhaust pipe.
Yeah. And
then these two will actually sit on top of this, because this is the front. And then this will take, if the last one's going to take 12 hours, this is probably about 3 or 4 hours. Again, the way I set my printer up, I have 3. Oh, actually, my printer will take longer because I do 3 bottom layers solid and 3 top layers solid and 3 walls. But I've started using a process called ironing, and then obviously, if you can imagine, as you print the top layer, you get lines, and what ironing does is on the top layer, it goes over that top layer again, but it squirts out about 10% of the filament that it normally would. And what it does is it creates like a smooth, almost mirror-like surface. Really, really good. All the parts have been printed before I discovered ironing. Right, so what do we got? We've got, let's call that 7.5 hours. So let's call it 8 out. Let's call it 7.5. So 14 and 12 is 26, plus 7 is 33. 33 hours and a half. So it is a lot of printing. It's 33.5 hours. But obviously, if you stuck to the first prints first, then you've got everything you need for this week done.
Yeah.
I promise you, we will not be doing 33.5 hours worth of printing at any more points during this build. Absolutely promise you that. It's just getting some bits ready. So once you've printed all of those off, and I didn't realize it was this much, that's what you'll end up with.
Wow.
Yeah. So because I've got my parts in no particular order, I'm going to show you the parts in no particular order. I'm just going to take them out of the box, chuck them on the table, and I'll show you them one by one. So there is my keyboard. And again, I'm going to just do a larger view if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
You guys want to go on the left or the right?
Doesn't matter.
Any way you like. That way.
Bottom, left, right.
Right, so I will start with the parts that we're going to use this week, which is those parts, which is 200, 2000. Let me turn the light out. And this part. So this is piece number 2, upper chassis part 2. And you can see it's been in that bag a long time because it's quite creased and worn out. And that's it, really. You've got lots and lots of holes. You've got channels there, and they're really good because that's where you're going to put the motor. And if the motor is too close or too far, you can actually adjust it. So it's going to go that way. And then you've got a little hole. You can't see it, but there's a hole. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's find, there we go. The reason that hole is there is because you're going to pass pieces under.
Yeah.
Like that. And now you can see why the motor casing has got a channel underneath it.
Yeah.
Because that's going to go over there. So the wires, you're going to need wires. Well, you're going to have servo. That is actually where that's going to go. So you'll have a servo will be this end, and you'll have 2 of them. And then you'll have a total of 4 wires. And it does get a little bit tight for space. And they go under there with the motor going over the top. And then that goes off into the distance like that. And that actually is a really good print, but let me show you ironing. Right. So that's what the top would look like normal. In fact, you can see it there. Really nice print, but you can see those lines, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Now, with ironing, it goes over that again, but just ejects about 10% of the filament. So it's reheating that surface, and that's the final result.
Wow.
It's not brilliant. It might just be my bed leveling. It might be the printer I used, but it is a much nicer surface. And in the case of these, I can now stick stickers on that, and that will have more surface area to stick to. So the stickers are less likely to fall off. So that's the upper chassis part 2, which I'll just pop that back in the bag. And this is 2000, well, piece 200. And this is the diff bracket. And as you see, I've done them in yellow because myself and Horlicks were kind of experimenting. If these are going to show, these really will show being in bright yellow.
Yeah.
And what I like about this is quite a lot of the fastenings, you have a little line in there where you pop a nut in, and then the screw comes in from there, and you're not screwing it into the plastic, you're actually screwing it into the nut. So it pulls that nut down, which pulls the piece down, and it holds it firmly.
Nice, yeah.
So I will pop those. So these are the only parts we're going to use this week, 3D printed. So what I'll do is I'll pop that into there, and I'll pop that in a nice convenient place to come back to. So as I said, in no particular order, quite literally as they come out of the box. Right, so we have got, I'll show you these first because I've done these in the wrong color. This is 23B, the left fender arm, and this is obviously the part that's going to hold on the rear wheel arch. And you've got a couple of nuts, and they're nut shaped, and you've got a couple of nut shapes there, and this is going to go on to the side to hold this. The tractor will be there, and this will go on, and then the wheel arch will clamp to it.
Excellent.
There is another, I will be reprinting those in silver, but for the purposes of this stream, they're absolutely fine. This is 203, the motor bracket. And yeah, right, this was printed without support. And you can probably feel it better or hear it better than you can see it.
Oh, yeah. Rougher.
Yeah, this one is.
Oh, yeah.
There's an ever so slight bridging issue, but if you look at it,
it's perfectly fine.
It's fine. But if you look closely at it, but you've got to remember that this will be clamped in like that, so you won't even see it. So you're losing, at worst, 1/10 of a millimeter of space in there. If you're really obsessed with it, then here comes your answer.
Fine, yeah.
But I'm not going to do that. But I looked at that and I thought, that's not going to work. But look at it, it does. It's lovely. I'm really happy with. I keep saying what Horlicks keeps saying, which is, wow, the parts just fit perfectly, and you will see that as the build progresses. Right, so this is called the front bridge. This is going to be the steering arm, so it will be attached on like that. Then you'll have the wheels will come off, and then that will enable it to move sideways. So as you go on rough ground, and they'll slip in there. I think I'll just do a quick view. We'll go into them a lot more once we actually use them. This is piece number 2, the upper chassis, and it will go this way. You can see the wheel arch. And again, this is talking technical now, you see the wheel arch is not perfectly circular, and there's a reason for that, and that is if you have a perfectly circular circle, when you print it, it kind of droops a little bit and you lose some of that circle. So what is a little trick where you just pop a little notch in, and it's so much easier to print. And you won't see that anyway because the wheel will come right up to there.
Yeah.
I've had a few little issues there, but that's not going to really affect anything because they're just screw holes. And I think watch this, because if the print comes out in this orientation, it's not going to work because you see there's a little gap there. So make sure you print it in that orientation, then everything's touching the print bed.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's flat.
Yeah. Yeah, you always want to avoid printing into thin air, unless in the case of this, it will actually be printing from a bit that already exists.
Yeah.
It will already be building this bit up, so it's only printing across there. But if you had it this large and you're printing across, you expect drooping in the middle, so you probably want to put supports in. But like he says, no supports needed on this at all. Right, this is piece number 1, the lower chassis, and I believe it goes. This is me being economical with the bags. Very, very tight fit. Right, I believe this is the top of the back wheel. Again, you've got that little notch there, and I believe that's where the seat's going to go, and this will be the front console. Don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. Wow.
It's not there. So
Okay.
probably gone for a pee or something.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, I do like them. Right, so next piece is the front badge, and this could have turned out better, but it's nice. And that will go in the body, and you just clip it in, and that'll be right at the front, and the headlights will be about there, and then the badges will go on the side there.
Brilliant.
This I actually really love. It's the steering wheel. I don't know. I think Horlicks liked his as well. It's just, it works. We love it.
Is that about 2-inch round, is it?
I'll get me ruler out, shall I? Which I had, but I've gone and put down and can't find it. There we go, we'll use this one. That is about 2 inches. Yep, that was a very good guess there, Dave.
Yeah.
See how far you're out. You're out about 1/32 of an inch. So does that help you, Dave, with scale?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You know how big the steering wheel is. You can kind of imagine how big the tractor is.
Yeah.
And that takes skill, doesn't it, Fleetwood?
Yeah.
I see the steering wheel, so I can figure out the size of the tractor.
Yeah.
Quite like that being silver on mine. Yeah, whatever colour you want it. The colours I put are the colours that I think either I will use, or that's what my interpretation, because there aren't full instructions. Right, so this is the axles, and you see they've got the hole in them, and that's where the diff is going to go, and then you'll screw it in. Do not be alarmed by the fact it's flat on one side.
Yeah.
The reason it's flat is so that it prints on the print bed.
Yeah.
But what you're going to do is you're going to put a bearing on, and the bearing will actually fill that gap. So it will rotate on the bearing, and you've got a pointy bit. Basically, it will go in there. The diff will go in something like that, and then you'll have a bearing, and it will rotate on the bearing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter about that. And I think that is symbol genius.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. absolutely fantastic. So I hope I haven't sent anyone to sleep just yet.
Just needed perhaps a bit of grease on there, Penny, would you?
No, you don't even need that because it's rotating on the bearing, which has got
Of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
This is the front, which that
looks excellent.
That's a beautiful print. That is.
Yeah.
On the original spreadsheet, it does tell you what layer height to use. So some of these parts you can save time and print them on a 0.3 layer height.
Yeah.
I've used 0.2 on all of them. So yeah, right. So this is the left front axle. In fact, I'll show you these first because they'll go. So these are the front axle holders. So the long square bit that I mentioned that goes like that, these go into the end of them.
Yeah.
And these will form the wheel, part of the wheel. And then I won't put that back yet. Then I'll show you this one. There's two of those, by the way. And then this is the left front axle. And this goes on something like that, I think. Or it could be on the other side. I can't remember at this point. But you've now got the rod at the front. This bit is going back towards the servos. And then the wheel will go on there. So the servos will control the steering.
Yeah.
So I'm just loving it. Do you think that this build is going to be awesome because we know all of the parts? You know, you can buy a radio control car and it does all these features and you think brilliant. Do you actually know how it works?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? When you know how it works, that makes it more interesting.
Well, I think also the guy has put time and effort, and he's a genius from getting to make it what it is.
Yeah,
that's the skill. It's a skill set, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to know how many misprints he's done or failed prototypes there are just to get this. This is the front axle, right? This is the same as the last piece, except obviously it works on the other side. Right, this is the motor left. So this will go on the side. So this will form the engine. And this will have the exhaust pipe coming off. In the files, the exhaust pipe, they called it escape, which is a fair enough word, isn't it? Because that's where the exhaust fumes escape.
Yeah.
Not a massive amount of detail, but enough detail. But maybe that's accurate. You know, I don't know how much detail there is on the original tractor. So that might be 100% accurate for all I know. But there's enough detail there that you know what it is. And then this is the right-hand side. So you got battery, you got a couple of little squarey bits there and some roundy bits. This is my technical knowledge of tractors. Roundy bits and words and squarey. So it's a technical term. We use it a lot in tractor building.
Good job we're not going to get a test on it later.
Pardon?
Good job we're not going to get a test on it later.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was that roundy bit by the square bit over by the lefty bit? What?
Yeah, correct. Right, this is the I call it. Oh, these are the badges. Now I've used the 165 badges. I'll be honest with you, I printed both of them off twice, and I seem to have mislaid the other one, so I've just gone, yeah, this is what I'm going to use. For those of you wondering how you're going to make sure you get that exactly, not too high and not too low, there's a little channel on the back, and that will correspond with a ridge, so you will stick it onto the ridge.
Excellent.
Oh, brilliant.
That's not a major point, but and again, you've got a little tiny bit of bridging there because we didn't use supports, but really, again, if that does interfere, we can just run a file down there, but I'm rather confident that that's going to be fine. So, right. So this are the servo holders, and there's 3 in total. Again, you could do these in any color. And I think on the video, he's done his in gold. But I've done this in silver because then you can chuck a load of prints all of the same color on. So this one end will attach to the servo, one end will attach to the steering. Can't remember what the third one does, but as that moves, that's going to pull things and then moves the wheels. It all makes sense in about week 6 when we do it.
Yeah.
So this is the front dumper, as they called it. And I believe this is the part that's going to hold the steering. So it will move in there with the wheels on the end.
Yeah.
This bit will attach to the chassis.
We'd probably call it a swivel.
Yeah. I mean, you got to remember the guy's Spanish, and I think Spanish is his first language.
Yeah. We'd probably call it an axle swivel or something like that.
Yeah. This is the other fender, but this is the right arm. But obviously, that's got to be reprinted in silver. We are nearly there, guys. I promise you. Right, this is the rear plate. I think, if I remember rightly, this has got something to do with the seat. I think it's that way. I might be wrong, and I think the seat goes on there like that.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Or that way. I can't remember. It'll all come to me once we get to that bit.
Yeah.
Right, we have a rear hook. I don't know why he's called this a rear hook, because we do actually have a hook-shaped bit, and this isn't it. I think this is more the part that the rear hook attaches to. This is probably one of the most uninteresting pieces there. But there you go. It's one of the pieces.
Probably under the back axle, is it?
I think it goes under the seat. Oh, it might be. It's got something to do with the trailer attachments.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, it's one of the most uninteresting pieces, but it's just as important as any other piece.
Yeah.
This is the rear arms, and this is to do with the lifting mechanism on the back, the bit that's attached to the tractor.
Yeah.
So this will come up, down, and then obviously you attach things to it.
Yeah.
So, and then, yeah.
Lifting arms.
Lifting arms. I like that. Yeah. Dave with his technical terms. This is called front dumper block. So this is something to do with the steering. I can't remember where it goes, what exactly it does do, but it attaches with 2 bolts, which you've got the nut holes there. And Harvey De Niro has applied for Britain's Got Talent.
Brilliant. Would that be a front wheel weight, Penny, to go on the front?
Possibly. Right, this is a gear bracket, and I believe this has got something to do. This is where the part of the diff is going to be, the differential. You'll have a bit coming through there, and there'll be a bearing in there to help it move.
Yeah.
And the diff will then go into the next piece of the diff, which has the axles coming out. So that will be driven by the motor, which will then turn the diff, which the bits will then come out.
Yeah.
And I've done that in yellow. I've done all of the parts that begin 200. I've done all of those in yellow. We are nearly there, guys. So this is the front chassis. So this is where all of the steering and front wheels is going to go. It's all going to come off the bottom. And there'll be various bits. I think there's servos. No. Yeah, the servos are going to come through there and move. And basically that's how it's going to work. Really nice. Really happy with that.
Nice print, yeah.
Yeah.
This actually came off the end of 3 that's now broken. Not the current ones.
Oh.
Although I am producing prints of the same quality with the newer ones.
Yeah.
You can see why I'm really happy with it for £150 print.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and the last, no, I knew there was a bit missing. Right, so remember I said that I had that one called hook? Well, this is center rear arm hook holder. And I think that's a bit more appropriate to call that one a hook.
Yes, definitely.
Started to go a little bit funny on that last print, but not on that last layer, but that's 110% functional. There's a little bit of marking there.
Yeah.
So one last piece, just show you that this guy has thought of absolutely everything. We have a motor coupler, and then what's going to happen is one half of this, two different size screw holes, and I wonder if that's for identification more than anything else. But this piece, which has got a little, it's not a perfect circle, it's got a little flat bit on it. The motor is going to go into there about halfway, and then that will be screwed down. And then in this half will be the diff, which there'll be you see that there's screws on both, there's a hole on both sides.
Yeah.
It will actually drive a screw through there, through the diff, out the other end. And then what that will do is then when the motor spins, because it's moving the motor coupler, it will then move the diff.
Yeah.
And that's so simple, but perfect.
Yeah.
Right, so that's all the 3D printed parts. And like I say, I promise you it won't be that long anymore. So the next parts that we've got, I'll save the diff for last because that's going to take more explanation. We've got 8 by 12 by 3.5, which that isn't it. Right. Well, I've labeled them 102B, and that's the 8 by 12 by 3.5 mil ball bearings. You will need, I've only got 2. I managed to mislay them, and I just happen to have got 2. But I think you need 18 in total, and these are going to be used for the wheels, two per wheel. So you've got two front wheels on the tractor, 2 wheels on the trailer, and 4 wheels on the dump trailer. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wheels, 16 bearings. And myself and Fleetwood did talk about this. There's 2 more for something else, but we can't remember where they're going at this precise moment. So they go in the box. We've got servo extension cables, and all these are going to do. Remember this servo that I showed you? That cable's not going to be long enough to reach all the way to the battery. So we've just got these extension cables, and you see that this end, they're exactly the same. This mail port, and then all they're going to do, I can't remember which way round they go at this point, but I think that's correct. They go in like, maybe not like that. There you go. So that just makes that servo longer. I haven't counted the servo yet. I'm using this just for demo purposes, so you don't need to get that until later on. I think we only need 1 or 2, but they sell them in 10s. And they work out about a couple of quid for 10, so you might as well pick up 10, unless you want to buy them on eBay individually. Have you got these, Fleetwood?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
In 10s or?
Yeah, I've got 10, yeah. It was cheap.
Yeah, that's it. And the last thing we're going to need, I can't remember exactly where these are going, but 102A, these are called motor axle bearings. And these are 5 by 10 by 4 millimeters. Nothing really special to show you about them other than their bearings. But I think these are the ones we're going to use in this build. So obviously you've got that bit in the middle, and then that just rotates. That's all I can show you about a bearing. How do I demonstrate a bearing to people?
You can't very easily, can you?
No. Right. So guys, are you? Oh, sorry. 2 more bits we need to get. And they are some M3 nuts. Now, if you're getting the bits and bobs that I put on the spreadsheet, you only need to buy 50 of these. If you're buying the countersunk screws, as per the listing, they all come with nuts with the screws. So you're buying 3 lots of 50. So that's 150 nuts that you get with it. If you're not buying, if you've got a different place to buy them from and they're not supplied with nuts, you will need 200 of these. And then we will need...
We gone quiet?
All gone quiet.
Benny, you gone quiet?
We can't hear you. No sound.
No. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, sorry, apologies. Sometimes I lose the connection. Right. So I'll just go back over those nuts again. So if you're buying the countersunk screws that I've given a link for, because you're buying 150 of them and you get nuts with them, you'll only need to buy 50 of these. If you're buying the countersunk screws without nuts, you'll need to buy 200 of these. I think they're about about 3 quid or something like that for 50. And then lastly, we need, I buy by 50, but you get 50 M3 16mm button head screws. Obviously they're called button heads because they look like buttons on the top.
Yeah.
As opposed to countersunk, which will go in like that. A countersunk will go under the surface a little bit, so they will sit flush, whereas a button head will actually have a little bit protruding on the top.
I got my screws off eBay, and the entire screws just cost me about 30 quid, I think, 35.
Yeah, that sounds like roughly what I paid for my screws.
But that's every single screw, nut and bolt I need.
Yeah, I've gone too many. What I've done with all the screws, I've gone through the entire spreadsheet that Makit provided, Mr. Makit, Chris, and I've just rounded it up to 50, with the exception of the M2 and the M2.5, because they were rather expensive, so I bought 10 of those only. Right, so the M3 is called an M3 because it's about 3mm across. So an M4 would be how far across? Anyone? Any guesses?
No.
Right, if an M3 is 3mm fat, an M4 would be
4mm.
4mm. Yeah. And it's an M3 16 because the end, not the top, the thread,
yeah,
is 16, about 16 mil. With the top on, you see it's about 17.5. And that's it. Chris, you've not really missed much. You've just missed me going through every single part that I've produced for this week. So obviously we will need a lot more screws and nuts and things for the build. But for this week, that's all we need. Yeah. If you've got a bit of spare cash in your pocket, unusually spare cash, perhaps think about buying a few extra bits. But what I've just shown you is over budget by about £6.60 at £26.63, for which I apologise, but the average cost will come down over the next few weeks.
And also, if you go into Home Bargains, $3.99, they do a storage tray, which I've done with all my screws for about £3. That'll hold all the screws going across, nice, easy place to put them in if you don't get them loosed. And then get a label printer and label each, section, so you know what screws are there.
Well, as you brought that subject up, literally as you spoke, as you said that, my printer's just stopped printing. I'm going to show you exactly what I printed. Because, honestly, it is topical. We couldn't have timed it any better.
There you go. You must have a spy on the wall.
Yeah, fun, isn't it?
So, because I've been doing, you've seen my purple drawers,
No,
So wrong.
I've discovered these, and I think these would be absolutely perfect for my. These are a little bit rough because they were 13-hour print, so I chucked the speed on to 200%. And I actually want these to replace these.
All right.
So what I can now do, that's going to keep them in safely. There we go. So each of these has 4 compartments. So this one could be used for AP, BP, CP, and DP, and the next one can be used for E, F, G, and HPs, and so on and so forth. And I don't think they take up a lot more or less room than the 4 containers.
Oh yeah.
They're just a different shape. So and then what that means is that this thing there is now going to go into one of these. So these will fit into one of these. Sorry, I'm doing dizzy cam. So I'll put my screws in there like that instead.
Yeah.
No.
So I think that will work a little bit better. And then I can do, I'll make a little extension on the side to put my files in. These are going to need just all I do with these, if you ever print any of these off, just a little bit of a rub there, little bit of a rub there, and then a quick rub on the bottom just to anything that's come over the side. And you usually find, there you go, it's that simple. These larger boxes, like I say, these will come out rough because I printed them very fast. These ones, I've done no adjusting whatsoever. They've just gone straight in.
Yeah.
But these are printed on normal speed.
Yeah.
So, enough of changing the subject. I've got one last piece to show you, which is the differential. And this is it. And I've left that till last because it's actually going to be the first piece that we're going to work on. So the differential comes in 2 pieces. You've got this bit, you see the hole in the middle. So let me just readjust my camera. So you have the hole in the middle, and that's where the motor coupler is going to go over, and you're going to screw that screw in. So the motor is going to drive this around. That will then be on there like that.
Yeah.
So as that goes, this piece goes round, that you see how that's going to drive this around.
Lovely, yes. Lovely.
And these 2 have got holes in the side. That's why you need the axles with the holes. So the axle will go on there, and then you'll drive a screw through there.
Yeah.
Now what this is supposed to do, right, bear with me a sec. I have actually been playing with it, so okay, would help if you use the right screwdriver bit.
Yeah.
Right, there we go. So this is a little bit complicated, and Horlicks got his diff before mine, and he told me what you need to do, and it scared me. But when I actually did it myself, it's actually nothing to be worried about. Do you know what? I can't find the exact screw head for that. This is a small hexagonal head. What I'm trying to do is actually restore it to factory default. Right, so you've got 3 screws in there, and as a result, this is supposed to be able to move independently, which is not going to.
Yeah.
You need to loosen it up a bit. So the first thing we need to do, and I'm going to get a parts tray out because we are dealing with small parts here. So sorry, Mr. Sheet of Stickers, you're going on there. I'll turn that onto there, and I will put my little screw pad on. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's use the screwdriver, shall we?
Yeah.
So new screwdriver. So we'll give a manual turn to start with because they probably will be in tight. And there you go. Use this end when you're doing it manually because you catch that motor. So we'll loosen those. Now from an upright position, unscrew them. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
See, they are quite long screws.
Oh, wow.
Right, keep it pointing downwards because there are some loose parts that can fall out. Right, so when you then remove this top, what that will do, it will expose 3 cogs. And you can see there was a massive dollop of grease. But when I bought this, the grease was obviously applied by machine, and there was like a big dollop there, and all the rest was dry. So what you need to do, you take this bit, and you just need to why is that not? Push that up a little bit, and then just keep rotating it. You need to spread that grease.
Yeah.
You might find it easier to pop a little screwdriver bit in there or a thin screwdriver just to give yourself something to what do you call it?
Yeah.
And just keep turning that. This seems scary when I tell you. Obviously I didn't have Horlicks showing me, he just told me, but we're just going to keep moving that until you're satisfied that is the whole lot is greased. You can buy more grease. I don't know what grease to buy. Horlicks actually sent me some more, but I actually think that's going to be enough in there. It's going to be an enclosed space, so there's nowhere for it to run out to.
Yeah.
But just as long as everything's covered with a little thin piece of grease. Then you need to put this back on, and you need to put it cog side down.
Yeah.
I think it's cog side down. And
do you think it's cog side down? I thought it'd be cog.
No,
because
this is going to come in from there.
Ah.
Right, and also, I don't know if you can see them. There's 3 little notches.
Oh yeah.
And then there's 3 little cutouts on the plastic casing.
Yeah.
So put that in the middle. Put that on, and then just keep rotate. There we go. Just rotate it until it falls into place. And then we will take 1 screw. And then I will just screw that up just a little bit. Because at the moment, if I drop this, it's all going to go everywhere. So if I can just get that screw in, mostly in, now it's not going to go anywhere if I drop it. So I'll just have a quick puff of cigarette. Right. So second screw in. I love this screwdriver. Now I'm using it.
I can't wait to use mine.
But I only love it a little bit more than the Aurea. The Aurea is brilliant, and that's gone in at an angle. So that's probably because I'm not holding it down properly. Right. So they've all gone in enough to bite. So I'll tighten those up until the screwdriver wants to stop. And now I have a problem. This first part that I've now worked on, we do not want an electronic screwdriver. We want more precision. So what I found is that you take each screw and you unscrew it a little bit. So say 1 complete turn. Use that perhaps as a marker. So 1 turn. 1 turn. This is going to take a while, and I do apologize. Well, I don't apologize because I didn't make it. And just give that diff a turn. That's actually turning. So that is probably fine. It may need more adjustment later. In fact, actually, I'm just going to turn it another quarter. But you can see now why I don't want to lose the electric. I don't want to use the electric because I want more control.
More precision you want, don't you?
Yeah. But it's a bit like that. You use the electric for bulk, maybe, or bits that you know you're going to be okay with. More precision, you use your or a combination of both.
It's just a shame that the first time I use the electric screwdriver, it's on a bit that you don't want to use an electric screwdriver for.
Yeah.
So basically, this will be explained better later on, but obviously this is going to turn around like that, so that will drive the wheels like that.
Yeah.
If there's any resistance on one wheel, because obviously if you draw a circle, a parallel circle, the inner circle is always going to have what's the distance on the outside of a circle called? Is it radius, circumference? The circumference of the inner circle is always smaller than the one on the outside. So as this goes around a corner, whichever one is the outer wheel needs to travel faster than the one on the inside, or the inside needs to travel slower. So what it actually does is it slips. So it pulls this one back. So that's why you can move them independently.
Yeah.
But they're also connected strongly enough that they will both go round. If you loosen those off too much, they will just this wheel will go, because that's the one that's going to be driven. But if you have them too tight, they're not going to slip like that. So you may have, once you actually build the wheels, you may find that you may need to adjust them, but the most important thing is to keep those the same distance. That's why I tightened them up all the way, knowing that they're going to be too tight, and then I undid. And whatever I did to one screw, I did with the others.
Yeah.
So that I can't get you to feel this. You can only see it. But in fact, do you know what? Actually, I'm going to go back. This has just confused everyone now, isn't it?
It's all about fine tuning, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fine tuning and adjustment.
This piece there is a little bit loose, but basically what's happening is the cogs are going to jump when there's too much pressure. That's why that's loose. So as you screw those in, that looseness is going to go. In the Routemaster, that looseness would be absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But in this, it's perfect. So that may actually still be too loose. But as I turn it, I can turn it with some ease, but I can still feel the cogs trying to connect. If I push in further, I'm pushing the two parts together. I can't turn them separately. But if I just hold it, they go.
Yeah.
That's how you want them. So that is the diff. So shall we do some building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the parts that we're going to need for this week are the upper chassis part 2, which is this one, and the 2 diff brackets, piece 200 2019, diff bracket times 2. Now I have said before, I have put black, but I've done these in yellow. These are going to go right. So what we are going to do is do this any way round you want. We're also going to need these. Let me check. The 102A 5 by 10 by 4 mil bearings. So I'll check the measurements.
Do you actually have a build diary for this?
No, this is my oh, there is a build diary, but only for the tractor. Let me
because might be handy for people to print the build diary off as well.
It's not a printable one. It's a YouTube.
Right. Just wondered if there was something printed, you know, like an instruction sheet that somebody could just print off.
No. What I've done for this, bear with me, link for the playlist, and this will be the whole tractor. There's a playlist called OpenRC Tractor Build With Me. So the first video is the materials. I just jumped straight to part 3, which is the differential. And can someone in the chat just confirm, has that come out as a clickable link, or have you actually got to copy and paste it? I suppose I could actually.
It looks clickable, but
Right.
I can't click on it. I think you have to copy and paste it.
Have a look.
I can click on it.
Can you click on it, Fleetwood?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can click on it. That's good. Right. So yeah, click on that, and then basically you will see what I'm about to do. So I think the easiest way to do this is to put one diff bracket in, then put the diff in, then bring the other diff bracket in. So the first thing we're going to do is not use. Oh, I've got the wrong bearings. Okay, ignore me. Right, yeah. I need the ones I've chucked in the box, not the ones I've kept out. So I think I've chucked them in the box. Oh no!
Oh.
I've gone all unorganized on you. There we are. 102B, not 102A. I think they're the ones. Yep, they're the ones. Right. So I thought, this is where the other two are then. You know, we couldn't figure out where the other two were.
Yeah.
So, right. So this should be, I can't remember the size now, and I haven't written it down. Right, we'll just measure them anyway. So, so when I say this a lot, and I do apologize. There's three measurements for the I will do like these ones are 5 by 10 by 4. These aren't these ones, but the first number is the inside, that hole in the middle. So this one is, I think that's an 8, about 8 mil.
Yeah.
The outside, the second number is the outside, so that's a 12. And then the third number is the thickness, which is why the last number is usually the smallest. So that's, I'm pretty sure that's 3.5. So this is 8 by 12 by 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll need 2 of these for this build. Now on these diff brackets, you'll see there's a hole there, but if you look on the other side, you'll see the hole's bigger. There's a little lip in the end there, and that's for the bearing. And I'm just doing a quick double check. Right, so with this, all you do is you pop that in there like so, if you need to just rub a little bit of sandpaper or file in there, so be it. In this particular case, that bearing works absolutely perfectly. So that one's in. You see that there's a little fatter bit at the bottom.
Yeah.
These actually go fat bit outside, not inside.
Yeah.
You're going to be placing two together. That's incorrect. That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
The front bits away from each other.
Yes. So what we then need to do is take two M3 nuts, and this can be the tricky bit. You're going to pop those inside there. So what you need to do is get them that way round so that you've got flat sides on the left and right, and then which way round they go. I think they go that way. And you may need to just turn them. There you go. That's gone in fine. And then just push it in, just so that when you look through, you can't see too much of the nut. And then the second one, as you see, I don't have the best fingers for this. There you go. That one's actually slid in. Be aware that they may fall out. So if your tolerances are different, pop just pop a little bit of masking tape on those.
Yeah.
So next thing we'll need then is two M3 16mm button head screws, and I've learnt my lesson. Look at the end first, and then get the appropriate end in. So I think that's going to be this one, which is, in this case, according to the Aurea, is a 2mm hex bit. I think this is going to be a really good chance for me to test the wow stick on a plastic part.
Yeah.
Right, so what you're looking for is, you see you've got a bank there of 6 holes. It's not these ones closest to the ledge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these holes there. They're lines rather than screw holes. Keep those on your left, and then it will be not these ones closest to the ledge. It'll be these ones closest to this hole there. So if you can take a servo in your, or anything thin, a wire, and you can push it in your right hand and push that through, you know it's then the next two. So any side, doesn't matter which way round. We'll just pop. You see there, that's slightly smaller than the screw.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to probably do one at a time, actually. And then I'll just screw that in through there. That will cut its way in as we screw it in. There we go. That's gone through. And then we'll pop the second one in. Of course, if it's had to cut its way in, it then means it's not going to fall out. So
yeah,
they're sticking out. So you see I've done the top one. So remember, the larger side sticks out. And then all we need to do is just pop that bit on there. And I would go a few screws at a time, because we need to keep those nuts may not have gone in fully. So you just need to sort of make sure it goes in all right. And that, right, so that's the tension of the wow stick. And that has got no wobble to it at all.
Nice.
So as a plastic screwdriver, that is probably fine. And I'm glad that was a test piece, because if I broke that, there's about 20 pence worth of reprinting there. Whereas if I'd broken the Routemaster, that's £8.99's worth of replacement.
Yeah.
So that's it for that side. And what we're going to do now is we're going to almost repeat in the same order the other side. So pop a screw in there, a nut, sorry. So that goes in there. And whoa.
Whoa.
See, that's why you've got your screw pad. So if I'd have dropped that, so yeah, keep your flat sides left and right, and then just put that in like so.
Careful not to drop your nuts, Penny.
Yeah, don't want my nuts dropping, do we?
No.
Probably be easier actually if I'd used a pair of pliers to hold them. But you know me, I have to do everything the hard way.
Painful.
This one, I'm struggling with this actually. There we go, got it in. So make sure they go in so you can't see the nuts. So then we stop and we do the differential. Oh, sorry, I forgot the bearing, didn't I? So again, there's a little lip on this side. This hole there is, it's about a millimetre bit larger than this one. And it's just a stopper so that when you put the bearing in, if you struggle putting these bearings in, just pop it in. In fact, actually, let's do it in a vise. No, let's not do it in a vise because that's not coming out. Okay, what you'd have done if you can't push it in by hand, get your vise ready. Obviously, it would be attached to something, whereas this isn't. And what you'll do is you'll put your bearing in, and then you'll hold it in the vise, and then you'll just very gently squeeze it together with the vise, and then that will push the bearing in, because the resistance always takes the laziest path, and it's going to push into the plastic before it pushes out the metal vise. Right, so we've got our nuts ready. Oh, sorry, we're over here now, aren't we? Right, we've got our nuts ready and we've got our bearing ready. Remember, we want the large side pointing outwards. And then what we're going to do is, I cannot remember now if there's a correct, a right and a wrong way. I think there will be. If I put that in this way, I think that is the correct size for that to come exactly in the middle, so it will connect whether you do it this way or you do this way. Yeah. However, I do seem to remember when I did a little test on this, I put it cog that side. So you see that this plastic bit, I think it's plastic, it might be metal, but you've got the fat bit there where the cogs are, and then it goes thinner.
Yeah.
That collar, is that a collar? That will go into the bearing like so. And you see that's the same size as the bearing.
Yeah.
And then what we'll need to do is place this bit over the other bearing, and then 2 more 16mm button head screws, holding that in place. And I'm only going to do this just until it grabs, because I want to keep these equal. I don't want that bracket being pulled down at an angle.
Yeah.
So I think really the reason these screws aren't being pushed in is maybe I just had the print bed a little bit low. So what's happened is if the nozzle, if the gap for the first layer is a little bit too close, as it prints the first layer, it squashes it outwards.
Yeah.
So it makes the bottom layer ever so slightly wider. But to be honest with you, in this case, that's not a problem. So I've just gone backwards on that to give it a run up. Right, so using only the tension, I'm really impressed with that.
Brilliant.
Be careful. I did have to give these a little bit of a sanding. You want that bottom of that diff bracket to be exactly the same, exactly 90 degrees to the
perpendicular.
Otherwise, they're going to go outwards or inwards.
Yeah.
But let's just check those. That, I would say, is running freely.
Yeah.
And that's it, guys. That is the entire build for this week.
Brilliant.
So what's going to happen in future weeks, we're going to have a motor bracket there with a motor on it, with a coupling, and the coupling will attach to this. So now you can see the channels there, where it's holding it. If perhaps it's there, you know, maybe you've got your tolerances wrong on your coupling, so it's a little bit too far out. So this channel, you can push the motor in, or perhaps it won't fit, so you can pull the motor out a little bit, and it will sit like that, and that will drive. If you watch for the holes in the diff, you'll see how it drives it round.
Yeah.
But I am super happy with that. That definitely runs freely. So for cheap Chinese bearings, I'm rather happy with that. So pop your second part of your diff back in your bag or wherever you keep it. Obviously you've got grease in there, so you probably don't want to pick up little bits of dust and dirt. So there you go, guys. That is this week's build. Excellent. It's not a massive end result, or is it? Because there's some weeks in the Routemaster when we've done a lot less than that.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's not as slow. I kind of geared you up for slow builds, and I don't think that's necessarily untrue. But no, actually, I think the colours are helped as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got to bear in mind this is part one. There's got to be a lot of intro, a lot of explaining, and then future weeks there'll be less explaining and more building. So sort of slowly build it up.
Yeah.
This week,
maybe next week will be the slow build because there won't be so much to explain, and we'll perhaps get it done in 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
But we've screwed in. All we've basically done is screwed in 4 screws.
Yeah.
But if this is one of the drawbacks with doing 3D designs as a part work, if this had come from Harshette, that diff would be all set up ready, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to sit there and unscrew it and check. You probably won't need to unscrew yours, but it's a good idea to open up that diff, check the grease. It would have worked its way around eventually anyway, but by just doing that little bit of manual turning, just like we did with the blinds on the Routemaster, we're applying the grease where we want it, and then we're working it in.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I obviously want to do the next 29 weeks now. But they also say patience is a virtue. Now, I will confess, I will be honest with you, I want to try and build on stream for the first time ever. I have already put this piece together. Some parts I've had to put together because I can't figure them out. This is the one exception to the rule. I put this together because I was impatient. But that's the only piece we've put together. But you know, when you get your bits, you want to play, and that's actually quite heavy.
Yeah, will be with the bearings and everything. Yeah.
That's trying to find something to compare it against. It's about the same weight as two AAA batteries and the Aurea screwdriver.
Yeah, so quite heavy then.
Yeah. Right, let's do it just purely by batteries. No, we can't. It's probably about 4 AAA batteries, about the same weight.
Yeah.
But obviously all the weight is at the front because it's only plastic.
Yeah.
You could get the weight down by reducing the infill of the print or less walls, but then you run the risk of. I mean, look, that is strong.
Oh yeah, very strong.
Probably 10 times stronger than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Because by the time you've got all the rest on it.
Yeah.
So, you guys happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that, if there's anybody out there that wasn't intending to print it, are you now watching this and thinking, well, actually, I want to go at that now? or not.
I would have thought that anybody would, because it's going to be a brilliant build. It really is.
So. Do you want to have a little chat, or do you want me to go through the parts for week 2? I promise you they won't take as long as these ones.
Entirely up to you.
I've got to nip off in a minute, Penny, because I've
no problems. Right. Okay, so I'll open up Cura, so I won't show you the actual spreadsheet, but all the parts all the parts that we need are listed in the spreadsheet. Click on the tab called Parts by Week, and then just move down to week 2, and it will say £18.90 minus £15.53, which is minus £15.53 is how much over budget it is based on £15 a week, and I can't remember what mine is. Anyway, it's diff 2 of 3. So I did mean to print this out, but the parts that we're going to need, and these will all be in silver filament. So maybe when you did that last print for week 1, you may actually decide to chuck these in with week 1. But we need 10 escape, which is basically an exhaust pipe. In fact, to tell you what, I'll load them up one by one. So that is piece number 10, which they called escape, which is basically an exhaust pipe. There is a remix on Thingiverse for a different exhaust pipe. I may do that at a later stage, but for now we'll just look at this one. The next piece we need is piece 25, called the seat, and that is fairly seat looking like, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a seat pad.
Yeah, but it's silver. So then we need 33, which is there's 2. There's 33 and 34. This is 34 and this is 33. And you need 2 of them, but one is an alternative, and I've got a feeling that you need the hexagonal one. But what I have done, they're only about, how much have I priced them up as? I've priced these up at 7 pence for 2, so I would be more inclined. I know. Oh, I can't do. There we go. Right. I know I'm asking you to throw away 7 pence, but print 2 copies of both of them, and then you just throw away the one that you don't need. So 35, which is called the rear light base, you will actually need 4 of those. You can see that looks like the bottom of a light bracket, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then all we'll do is we'll multiply that 3 times to give us 4. There will be a clear piece going on top, and if any of you is anything like me, you'll be looking at that hole and going, LED bulb.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Now they work out of 4 pence for the 4, but there is an alternative, which is piece number 37. So print the one that you like the best. So that will actually be a good shot. So you see one's a little bit taller.
Yeah.
And I think we're using the taller ones because we are going to be doing an LED mod for it. And I think it works a little bit better with those larger ones. Or not. I can't remember. Those holes are there to screw it into place. But we're going to have to glue them on because we're going to use that hole for the wire for the LED.
Yeah.
We'll go through that later on. it will give you the choice. Right, the next one is piece number 41, which is called the seat base, which that doesn't look quite so seaty as the seat. Rough shape, but I think that's actually the seat pad.
Yeah.
But they don't have pads on tractors, do they? Because tractors are driven by big, strong, burly men, aren't they? That don't need home comforts like that.
Yeah. Right, Penny, I've got to nip off. So
okay, no problems. You take care.
Just got to sort out little sparkles. That's all.
Yeah, no worries. Well, thanks ever so much for joining. I really do appreciate it.
Right.
And you take care, and thank you for being part of the show, which I think has hit a record number for Saturday. We've got 12 viewers at the moment.
Yeah,
great. Oh, great.
I just really put some time out. Their messages were getting a bit too much, so so hopefully we shouldn't spam too much now.
Okay then, yeah. All right. Well, you look after yourself then.
Will do.
All right. Good night. Good night.
Okay, so the next piece we're going to need, just bear with me. I've just, I know it's going to sound negative. I've just lost my train for a minute. Right, piece number 42, which is steering servo holder. And that's this piece there.
Yeah.
I can't remember how that's going to go, but it's a twin sticky up bit with holes in the middle, which we can assume a screw is going to go through.
Yeah, the holes are slightly to one side, aren't they?
Yes. Yes. And the last piece is piece number 43, which is... Oh, sorry, I just pressed delete rather than open. Right. Piece number 42... Sorry, 43. Now, it says in the instructions to print 4. And the reason you want 4 is because the instructions are for the tractor. What I would do is print off 4, 8, 10 of them. So we'll multiply that by 9. And then that will save us a couple of minutes later on when we do the trailer and the dump trailer.
Yeah.
Because the wheels for the trailer are actually the exact same wheels as the front wheel for the tractor. And that is the entire print needed, of which we won't even use most of those bits. I don't think we'll use any.
No.
But that is the entire print process for stage 2.
Yeah.
Which I've in my notes, I've actually put the remaining silver parts. So
yeah.
I think if you are doing it in the colors that I'm suggesting, I think once you've done this, you will not need any more silver filament until you start to print something that isn't the tractor.
Yeah.
And there you go. That is just short of 6 hours. So I'm talking mainly to Adrian here. But one thing I'd said is that I'm going to be printing these parts off for someone else to do the build. And then someone else has asked me to help them, and I'm more than happy to help them. Now, you can see that the printing for stage 1, I did scribble some notes down. We've got 33.5 hours worth of printing. I don't normally have the time to sit there for 33.5 hours. Generally, what I do is I'll do 2 prints a day of up to 12 hours.
Yeah.
Well, the way it tends to work is that I'll set a print going for up to about a 15-hour print just before I go to work, so it's finished when I come home from work. Dave, you just muted yourself. I don't know if you did that on purpose. And then when I come home, did I mute you?
No, I did it, Penny. I was talking.
So I just realised what you did as soon as you as you said it.
Just got a nice cup of tea, so
nice, and a nice mug too. Yeah, then I tend to do about an 8-9 hour print when I come home from work, and then that takes me through the night. so they're ready. So if I've got like 58 half-an-hour prints, I can still only do 2 print beds a day.
Yeah.
Because I can't pop home from work after. I'll do one trip on a bus and go, I'm just nipping home to do another print. So it would actually, I've got 2 printers, so to do all the parts for the first issue would probably take me 2 days, maybe a day, using 2 printers. But that print for the second show, I can do 2 prints a day on each printer, 4. So I could potentially do, my maths is gone, I could do 28 prints. I could print that for 28 people. That would give me no time to do my own personal prints.
No.
So what I actually said to Adrian yesterday was that Fleetwood's asked me first, so I'll get Fleetwood's prints done.
Yeah.
Then I'll start on Adrian's prints. If it starts to drag out, then I'll just quickly do Fleetwood's issue 2 prints. I'm calling them issue 2. And then I will do the rest of Adrian's, then Adrian's second.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, with if issue 2 and 3 is that long, then I would probably do what I did today with my new boxers. I would make the print, stick it on an SD card, then copy that SD card, chuck both SD cards in each printer, and I'll have 2 prints running together.
Yeah.
And then they're done then.
Yeah.
So I could, if anybody wants these prints done for them, what the deal I've done with, I think Fleetwood's asking me to print them, and I hope they don't mind me saying that. It's too late if you do mind. So if anybody wants me to do these prints, the deal that I've done with them is that they buy the filament and then they have it sent to my address. I will then label that box of filament up, and I will only use that filament for their prints. If you use the supplier that I use, you actually get a 10-meter sample with every roll that you buy. And if one of your samples that you get is a clear filament, then I can print all of the clear parts off, because that uses a smaller amount of filament than you actually get with the sample. And then there's the number plate, which we've decided to do in white. So you need a total of about that much white filament. So you get the white filament with another roll. And then I think someone anyway, they said, well, they can't afford to send me all of the filament. And I said, well, that's fine. Send me a silver filament. I can print off all your silver parts. Or you may want to paint all your parts, in which case you're one color filament, maybe a light gray or white, and then I will print everything off in white. And then, but I can't start anybody else's prints until I finish somebody else's week 1. And then there will be some prints where it will take, like the trailers are going to take a long time, because
they're quite big, aren't they?
They're massive. This is technically a sneak preview. This is 1/2 of the trailer bed. And you see, it's not very tall, but it takes up all the space on the print bed. The print bed is this big. As you see, it doesn't leave an awful lot of room on the print bed.
No, it doesn't.
It hardly fits on the longer side. You have to forgive the numbers; they are there for a reason. But so if anybody wants the prints done for them, it is easier because I've got 2 printers. But I think I could probably max out at 4, possibly 5 people. You'll still have to buy your own electronics and your screws, because obviously I can't make those for you. But I can't start anybody until I finish the last person's week 1. So
would it work in a box system then, Penny? If you got several boxes, if several people wanted it doing, and you put in each box in rotation, how they come in?
Yeah, it's yeah, I was looking at something today about because someone was saying to me that they can only accept Royal Mail because I think they have a problem with parcels, but they have a system where if they're not in, their mail is safe.
Yeah.
So they've limited the amount of that I can send them in one parcel. But obviously, if I send a certain size box, it makes sense for me to fill that box.
Yeah.
You know, if that was the whole print for 1 week, you know, it's going to be however much postage. Probably going to be these two will probably cost the same amount to send.
Yeah.
But if you put them in the box together, you probably cut your postage in half. That's obviously an extreme example, but
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I'll see. I'm saying that I could theoretically print parts off for 10 people, but I'm not going to tell people I'm going to do 10 because
I
come across a problem 1 week, and it might well be that one person will be up to say issue 10. One person will be a week behind, another one will be 2 weeks behind, another one will be 3 weeks behind.
Yeah.
But, or you could just go out and buy your own 3D printer.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to wait a couple of weeks, but I've just seen some printers on eBay for about £75.
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical because they are seriously cheap. They are most definitely cheap Chinese clones, and they're sold directly by the people who make them, which is obviously where a lot of the cost saving is. Chris, I'm trying to get it sorted out for you, but the original plan, Chris, was to get you a printer of mine, which you can then print your own things on, and then I can say to you, "Oh, can you do a print for me?" But we'll talk about that at some point anyway. So yeah, if anybody wants any prints done, have a chat with me. I can't promise I'll say yes. The only icky bit for me is the wheels. I'm really quite scared of using the flexible filament. So I would prefer you to be happy with these PVA wheels. They're a little bit grippy, but they won't work as well outside. You take care, love minis. Have you eaten all that pizza yet? These won't work quite as well as the flexible filaments, but it'll certainly work indoors. Absolutely no problems.
Might be all right on grass as well, short grass.
Might be all right on grass. I am actually going to print these wheels off for myself as well. I've got to do the big flexible. I've done 2 flexible filaments. I am going to use these for my trailers because the trailers have just basically been dragged along, aren't they? You don't need the grip on the tractors.
On the trailers, no.
Right, Chris, your earlier comment. Oh, yes. On Tuesday, Chris is unable to do his Jaguar builds because he hasn't got it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So he's doing issue 57. As for do I think it's a good idea? Of course I think it's a great idea. Anybody streaming on YouTube and sharing a hobby is not a bad thing, is it?
Yeah. What is 57? I've forgotten.
It's an issue between 56 and 58. I tell you what I'll do. I will have a little look at the Facebook group for the Routemaster build.
For 57.
For 57. So there's a nice little plug there for the group.
Yeah.
And for the benefit of anyone that isn't a member, I'll tell you a funny story, but just enough to make you want more. I've got a feeling we change the photo every month, and the members vote on it. Was it 57? You said, and I have a feeling that the picture for next month isn't actually going to be of a bus.
57 is.
57. Oh, you got it before me, have you?
Yeah. It's the roof panel and bell cord.
Oh, you'll have fun with that. Roof panel and bell cord, yes.
57.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Stop screen. Share screen. Chrome tab.
That's going to be a hard issue.
That is a hard issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think so much hard as awkward.
Awkward, yeah.
Yeah. But you get a nice big piece of the roof, which is very nice. Very nice. Lots and lots of screws, but I've got a feeling you're not going to use all of them, are you?
No.
And then you're going to be putting these rails in, which, to be absolutely honest with you, I think Chris will manage that absolutely fine. There you go. It's just that. Now, is that the one where I had a little bit of trouble with that
Yeah.
switch? And I had to, did I put a piece of card in there or something, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Or did other people suggest putting the card in? What I found, plug for both Chris Campbelling, both for the Facebook group and for Chris Davies' channel, and your channel too, Chris Campbelling. So that piece there on stage 6, the connectors are you've got a piece that's going to cut. You got the like the switches there, and you've got this piece, and it doesn't quite push that down enough. The temptation is to push that one up, but you really need to push that one up so that it hasn't got so far to travel. But does that sound right, Dave?
Yeah, it sounds right. It's very
it was over 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's very fiddly. Very fiddly indeed.
Now, yours might be absolutely fine, but I seem to remember a lot of people were complaining about it. So it may not be all of them, but it's certainly some of them.
Yeah.
So, but I say this a lot. You always do a lot better than I think you will. You know, I think, you might struggle with that, and you just go straight into it. And you really do know what you're doing, and you've got the patience for it.
Yeah.
So, not trying to add pressure or anything, but I can't see a problem with any problems with 57. I think we'll get through that. So, So if you've never heard of Chris Davies, absolutely amazing builder when you take everything into consideration. Love his channel.
Yeah.
And why he doesn't swear more often, I don't know. He didn't swear once during those Jag wheels, did he?
No, it was really good.
I would have let at least one slip out. I know we did have one Routemaster build where I really had to hold back. I can't remember what we were doing now. But do you remember?
65.
Which one was that?
65, where he's putting the body on the chassis.
Oh, that's it. Yes. And one of the little tabs snapped off, didn't it?
Yeah.
Quite got it in right.
Yeah.
I was able to control myself and saying, okay, that means I've got one less screw to put in then.
If it's any consolation, man did the same.
Did it?
And Christine's, yeah, so wasn't a problem.
Well, I say where we're up to now, I've got to get a new set of shelves put up I've got to get this shelf sorted out because where the bus has now grown about this much extra, I can't fit it on the shelf anymore.
Yeah.
So I was going to put the shelves up today, but I've got like a rubber camping hammer.
Yeah.
And I use it for putting because these shelves you can't, they're really hard to put into the tabs, but you don't want to hit them with a hammer because they're not that strong.
Yeah.
And I find the rubber mallet is absolutely perfect. And the only other hammer I own is this one.
Toffee hammer.
No, it's a crafting hammer. It's very, very good for putting nails in ship planking.
Yeah.
And it comes with different heads. You've got an acrylic head.
Yeah.
And you've got a brass one. The brass, as you see, where I've used it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I've used it a lot. But
yeah,
this looks, you know, your granddad's hammer in the garage. It's got so many scratches and dents in it where he's been hit. That's what that looks like. But brass is a lot softer, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I just found a good screwdriver.
Chris is asking you, have you sorted a bonnet?
No. Yes. I have got. No, this is right. Yes, I have. I'm pretty sure someone sent me one. But I got home to discover I thought I'd bought 2 issue 1s. I think I've actually ended up buying about 4 or 5. So I know I bought 1 bonnet to practice with because I thought I want a nice big bit of metal that I can strip paint off, but I don't really want to spend $8.99 an issue. And obviously with that coming with issue 1, do you remember that bonnet that I I still owe you a bonnet, Chris? Did I say I was good? Yeah, I thought it came out really well, actually, a lot better than I thought it was. But I think you've got to use the right primer, haven't you?
Yeah.
So the primer that I use for plastic models is very, very good for plastic models, but it's not so good for metal models. So the one I've got, apparently it actually eats into the metal. It kind of pits the metal, fills those pits in, and then levels. Is that how it works, Dave?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Which sounds destructive, but I suppose it's the same as keying up a surface with sandpaper.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you do right. I'll get you one. I know exactly where there is one. In fact, I could probably find it in a second because I was going to bring it down with me next time, wasn't I? Oh. Okay, it is down there somewhere anyway. So I'm done. I've done really well with the room actually. It's getting there, but not the bits you can see. And in the end, I just thought, right, I'll put a shelf up behind me. But the idea of putting the shelf up behind me, if you look just above there, I've decided to try and put my Harley bits on show, but they're not really on show because they're so far away from me. So I thought if I have a shelf behind me, which will be about there, then I'll have all the busts and everything right behind me.
Yeah.
So maybe tomorrow, because I'm gonna find that. I saw that mallet about 2 or 3 days ago, so it can't. Well, what didn't help was Wednesday. I said I was going to clear this desk, so I just ended up clearing quite a lot and just chucking it straight into a box because I knew I'd be able to work on it this week. I've done quite a bit today, actually. So, right, is there anything to cover then that I haven't covered?
No, I don't think so. You've done next week, haven't you? You've told them about next week, and you've.
I need to do the electronics for issue 7. So, for episode 7, you will need to order. Oh, lovely! Right, so we'll need M3 40mm button screws, M3 50mm button screws, M4 16mm, and M4 20. Obviously, you all know what a screw looks like. And we only have one electrical component, and that is an ESC. Now, I did bring this up, but there are 3 different types of ESC listed. So I am using the ones that he's listed, but I think that you need one with a brake, I think it is. And what he actually did is the parts that he's listed were the parts that were the best or cheapest at the time.
Yeah.
So this is the part that we've got listed for next week. I'll just bring that up a little bit bigger. Now, on the spreadsheet, we'll have a look at the prices. On the spreadsheet, I've got the price as £6.04. So you can see there, it's actually come down in price since I ordered it. So that's good for you guys. Now, if like me, you now like to have faster and track delivery, there'll be an extra £1.78 on that for delivery.
Yeah.
But I think that price is right. The trouble with this is a little bit like Amazon, in that none of these parts are actually sold by Banggood. They're all sold by a seller, but they don't tell you who the seller is. That's the only thing. I don't think they do anyway. Maybe I just haven't looked close enough. No, I don't think they do. So if you buy like 4 or 5 different parts, again, if you've got a bit more spare money, you can buy the week after's parts or whatever. That particular week for week 7, that's another expensive week, I'm afraid. £19.94. But I think that is the last. But it sticks within the £20 budget, but it does go over the £15 budget. But then we've got week 9 goes over because we've got a motor. But then from week 10, week 11's a lot. But week 10 is a cheap week. So yeah, it will. But once we get into the build, the prices do really drop.
Yeah.
Most of the parts. Right. So an ESC with a brake. I'll be honest with you. I don't. Yes, I do now. Right. ESC stands for. Correct me if I'm wrong. Electronic speed control.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So what you've got is this piece there. This right. Right. This piece there, this black plug there.
Yeah.
That is exactly the same as a servo plug. That will plug directly into the receiver. The little bit with 6 banks of pins.
Yeah.
And then that sends a signal to the actual transmitter.
Yeah.
This black piece there is an on-off switch. So I'm guessing there'll be a hole somewhere for us to stick that out of so we can access that and actually turn the actual tractor off.
Yeah.
And this red plug there, that will go directly to the battery. So no, hang on, there should be another plug. Let me find the part, because that doesn't make sense. I think I might have just described it wrong. Right, so the piece number is, well, I say week 7, 104. Right, bear with me a sec, guys. I'll find the bit. Oops. And then I'll show you the actual bit. I did say 104, didn't I? Or was it 104 something? 104A. Right. Give me between 10 seconds and a minute.
Right, you're all right. There's plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Right. Okay.
It's awkward when you're trying to do 2 or 3 things at once, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm the admin on 3 or 4 Facebook groups, and
that's fun for you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's difficult when you're trying to advise some people and that, but we're getting there.
Right.
Such diverse projects as well.
Yeah. I can't find 104A. I found the diff grease now, though. Right, unless I put it in a different box. But I've got 104B, which, for the purposes of this, looks the same. So, yeah, it's the picture. Yes, okay, right. I see it now. So, it's one little small detail I missed. Right. So, see where that black bit is?
Yeah.
There's that red lead there as well.
Yeah.
That's the one we missed. I knew we were missing one. So this one will plug into the battery.
Yeah.
That will give power to everything. Yeah. This one is the signal in from the transmitter, and this red one then goes off to whatever we want to power.
Yeah.
Because it's now I actually learned about JST connectors. JST, and they stand for Japanese something. I can't remember what it means now, but that's basically going to be the lead. So that will power LED, the motor. In fact, I think this will actually power the motor. So this will go on to channel number 2, and then it goes to the motor, which will power the rear wheels, which will be the throttle. And the reason it needs a brake, and this is the clever bit, if you have it going forwards, you've got the trigger pulled back, and then push that trigger forwards. That's pretty much the same as slamming your car into reverse while you're going forwards. So what by having a brake, by pushing the trigger forwards, it stops. You then have to pull the trigger back, then forwards again, and then it'll go backwards.
Yeah.
But I think you can slam it forwards while you're reversing.
Wow.
You have to I think really what you want to do. I don't suppose it would break the motor. I guess the motors can handle it because it's 2-speed, isn't it? It's forwards and backwards.
Yeah, but it's probably best not to do that though.
Yeah. The easier you do it, the less strain you're going to put on it. So when you're in reverse, let go, and then hang on, you've got it forwards. So you'll find the position for nothing, and then you can bring it forwards. But the brake stops you from going forwards straight into reverse.
Yeah, it does.
Payload will fly everywhere if you do that, won't it?
Of course it will, yeah. It'll be everywhere.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to put these back in the correct box.
Okay.
Use them. And I'm going to have to go through all my parts again because I think I've laid things down ready to put somewhere and then not put them away. And this is why I have to be OCD with let me show you one thing I made as well, because this is awesome. I would like to have shown it with Chris on, but Chris, who made the tractor, has also designed these. And what it is, it's designed to put wires on.
Yeah.
And you actually get a half. It only goes through a zone. You need to print 2 of them off. And then you see there you've got a screw hole, and then you've got a hole for a nut. And then you insert the screw into one side and it comes out the nut side.
Yeah.
And then you've got a hole in the middle, so that if you decide to, I haven't got anything long and thin, but perhaps you could put a piece of metal through there and have them hanging up.
Yeah.
And they've got so many slots on it. It doesn't matter how long your wire is. You've always got somewhere to connect it.
Yeah,
and
excellent.
I suspect that's a really simple print, but it's the coming up with it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to thank him for that, but obviously he couldn't make it today.
Yeah.
So I've printed 4 of those off to make 2. So the wire will come later, but obviously I've already bought it and I couldn't wait to give it a try.
Yeah.
And it's only that fat in the middle to start with, but it's so wide, obviously, because I've put the wire on. And I do like this wire. It's quite rubbery and flexible. So, but we'll examine that in more detail when it comes to it. So I will thank him probably face to face when I see him next.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to say that. So check out his website and all of his builds. If you follow the link to the tractor on, I think you can only download it from my mini factory, but when you pull up the page at the top, it says designer, and that gives you a link to that, and then you can see everything he's done, and he's got some really interesting projects.
Yeah, it certainly has.
Yeah, especially that edge clock I want to try out.
Yeah.
So, right, so with that, I'm going to end this really good show that I have really enjoyed.
Okay.
You don't know how the show is going to go until you actually do it, do you? But
no, well,
gone
2.5 hours is rather good.
Yeah, I started the show off by saying I think it's going to be a bit of a slow build. So we managed to draw that one out, didn't we?
Then, of course, if anybody wants more details, get in touch with Penny here, and she'll sort you out with any more details.
I have. We have got a Facebook page. I would like to thank Steve Graham for helping set that up. Well, he set it up, and then we've just all continued. I am going to be renaming the Facebook group. He set it up. He's called. Hang on a sec. I would like to thank Steve Graham for help. Right. Let me see if I can find. I spent all about 3 minutes this morning setting the group up, setting the description. And oh, yeah, there we go. So the listed in the description. Let me check that I have. Yeah, right. So Steve has been wonderful, and I'm trying to talk and find it. When you try and talk
and do something.
I've finished. I want to bring the Facebook group up, but I'm trying to talk, fill in the boredom of having to wait for me. So there's the Facebook group. He's called it Penny and Horlicks RC 3D Print Tractor Group.
Yeah.
I'm going to rename that. I'm just going to call it the Penny and Horlicks 3D Printing Group. Although we're doing the tractor at the moment and everything will be about the tractor, I'm going to make it about the 3D printing projects. So everything will be in this group, including one day when we start the next project. Or everything that we do for the tractor will still be there then, and you won't have lots of different groups. So he's got
that's a really good idea.
Yeah. And obviously at some point we'll catch up with the files for the orrery, because that's what we lacked before, wasn't it? Penny's part works. Well, Horlicks is as part of this as I am. In fact, everyone's a part of it. Yeah. Maybe we should call the group Saturday Night 3D Print Club. or something like that.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Well, we're all as responsible as each other for it. We all help with it. And, you know, I thank as many people as I can. I usually end up missing someone that could do with a thanks. But without everybody's help, it wouldn't be what it is now. So
No.
you know, even down to the person that sent me one link once, you know, that's also been a great help.
Yeah.
So yeah, so check out the Facebook group. But as I say, you know, there's been times when we did the orrery where, like, you know, remember when I did those pipe benders?
Yeah.
All I needed to do was upload those into the Facebook group. Bang, there they are for everybody.
Done. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I wanted to set the Facebook group up. So I may make a few little files or a few little posts about what to print and when and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Maybe come up with some fun articles or something. But at the moment, it's a small group with not many posts. But as time goes on, they'll get more and more. So
yeah.
And then,
as long as you publicise it right, it'll be right, won't it?
Yeah. But Steve has also printed off some of the pages from the spreadsheet, but he's printed them off as PDFs. So people can download and print off the PDF, which I thought was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Some people prefer the spreadsheet, some people prefer the PDFs. You know, people now have a choice.
Yeah.
Right, so unless anyone's got anything that I've missed, I'm going to think about ending the show. So thanks as always to Dave Say, who's been a brilliant help.
Well, I'm here whenever you want me to fill in. You know, I don't think that I've been much help, but you know, we've
brilliant. Sometimes it's just asking you a confirmation question.
Yeah.
I asked you a couple of things about the tractor and you know, like the steering wheel, you know, the fact you can work out the size of the tractor based on this. Well, no, that's skill and experience for that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually bigger than 112.
Is it? I think
it's
110.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ring a bell, but to be honest with you, I'm not knowledgeable on old tractors, so I really don't. You know, obviously I've seen some of the prints, so I can imagine how big it is. But
you
know, for all I know, that could be 1 to 144 scale.
Yeah.
1 to 2 scale. You know, I assume they're fairly big because I guess they've got a big torquey engine in because they have a lot of pulling to do.
Yeah. Well, that particular tractor isn't that big actually. It's only as big as a car. Yeah, it's not much bigger than an average car, you know.
Okay.
So obviously it's taller. But yeah, it's not much bigger than an average car.
Right. So what is it? A basic workhorse, is it? Just for a little bit of ploughing and a little bit of transport and things from A to B.
Yeah.
But it's not going to do all the stuff. I mean, the modern tractors, they do all sorts of weird stuff, don't they?
They're massive, yeah.
But they do so much more. I suppose they're more cost effective, aren't they? They're more expensive, but they do more jobs.
They do more, yeah. Yeah, so you can just pull into a field and press a few buttons, and it's map read the field via satellite.
What does it automatically?
And then it would do the job automatically, and you just have to sit there and be physically there, really.
So you basically sit in the cab eating your sandwiches and drinking your tea.
Yeah.
So you could plough a field in your lunch break.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. You know, give or take, pressing a few buttons. It's that's all it is nowadays in the up-to-date modern tractors. So
it's not all about farming techniques now, as more of we're learning how to control your tractor and how to use the computer. But I suppose it makes it more cost effective for the farmer, isn't it?
Yeah, less labor intensive.
Product prices aren't going up in relation to wages, are they?
No.
So these farmers must be under more. I mean, I know I mean, coming from Norfolk, there's a lot of dairy farms. And they're not earning much more money from milk, from like places like Tesco's, as they were 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And they have to work so much harder to get less money.
Yeah.
And that's wrong.
Yeah.
I think, work harder to earn less.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going backwards in one sense. In the days of yore, the olden days, it used to be a lot of people for harvest time, doing all different sorts of jobs. Many a farmer would come into the local village and hire people for the harvest time. And they'd just get hired for a few weeks or a couple of months maybe. But now, generally speaking, the men on the farm or the women on the farm or whatever that are there normally, they don't have to hire in extra personnel to carry out harvest times, because it's all done an awful lot quicker.
Yeah, but that's a little bit of a fun fact. I think I've mentioned this before, but this is why we have a 6-week school summer holidays, isn't it? Because that's when the children were needed to help out on the farm.
Yeah.
Because in really, really long time ago, farm labourers only had like 10 months work a year, didn't they?
That's right, yeah.
They only just earned enough to feed the family, so they had no income. So when the harvest comes in, if you can get 2 or 3 of your kids working and earning an income, now you've got the equivalent of 12 months income. So you obviously put your money aside and make that last the 2 months when you got no work.
Yeah.
So to a labourer, your child working the field is far more important than him going to school.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
In the end, they just went, sod it, no one turns up anyway, we'll just give them a big summer holiday.
Yeah.
They can work harder the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So, right, okay then, time is getting on. So next week we will be doing a little bit more to the rear diff. A lot more actually by comparison. Let's see, quick calendar for this week. Tomorrow, do you know anyone that might be streaming tomorrow, Dave? Or anyone making any videos or anything?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Do you know? I thought maybe you might be.
No, my next one is on the 13th of this month.
Okay, so that is next Sunday then, is it?
Yeah, it's a week tomorrow.
A week tomorrow. Monday is some guy builds a Terminator, I think, on a Monday, doesn't he? some lewd, dirty-minded innuendo person. Oh, Chris Campbell.
Chris Campbell, there he is in the chat.
Tuesday is going to be a Jaguar that will look suspiciously like a Routemaster.
Yeah, that's Chris Davies.
Wednesday. Now, what happens on a Wednesday?
Oh,
I'm sure something happens on a Wednesday.
Yeah, a big red thing.
Is that the day when we do a Routemaster that looks suspiciously like a Routemaster?
Yeah, that's it. The Routemaster day.
Thursday is sometimes it's World of Wayne, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or miscellaneous.
Yeah.
And that will take us to Friday, which will, I believe, not going to be Adrian Langley, because Adrian Langley just doesn't love us enough next week. He's off swanning around somewhere.
Yeah.
And then Saturday is going to be this show.
Yeah.
So that's another. We have done really well, I think, over the years. There used to be 1 or 2 pre-recorded videos come out a week for Partworks, and now we've got interactive shows every night.
Yeah.
Oh, World of Wayne's every fortnight, is he? I can't always catch World of Wayne, so I never remember if he's coming this week or the next week. But I get my notifications come up, and I do enjoy shows. Although, to be honest with you, Thursday nights, I don't get many nights where I don't do anything at all. So I lurk on his channel more often than not. So I just have on as background while I'm doing a few bits and bobs.
Yeah, well, we've also got Fleetwood J in there. He's got some brilliant things coming along on his channel, Fleetwood J.
Yeah. I'm going to give a spoiler. He asked us to review his intro today, and I would say it's a really good intro.
Yeah.
So next time he has a video come out, look out for that and watch the intro as well. He's really good at picking music and pictures and yeah. So yeah, he's invited me to help him do the Fiat 500, which I am really looking forward to. I saw that build at first and thought, that doesn't look the money. Doesn't work. But I'll start that one again. Doesn't look like it's worth the money. 100-week build at about £40 a month, which is the same price as a Routemaster. It's going to be small, but it's when I saw the caravan with it, I'm like, yeah, that's brilliant. And I believe it's even got a nodding dog in the back. That's classic, isn't it? You can't have an old car without a nodding dog. And the feature, and now I've got some of the parts, because obviously photos can only tell you so much, but when you actually see the parts in real life, and I've not seen the actual parts, they're still in the plastic wrapping.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure when I open that up, I'm going to go, wow. So the build quality looks good, but we'll see how they go together. So yeah, that's that one done. Yeah, Adrian Langley, it's his birthday next Friday. That's why he's going to Spain. You know, we were joking when we said that you don't love us enough. But no, I hope you have a fantastic holiday.
Yeah.
Feel free to pop in and say hello if you want to. But I will totally understand if you're sitting there drinking sangrias on the beach or whatever you do in Spain. San Miguel, or I don't know what's Spanish. So paella on the beach.
Paella.
Yeah. Right, guys. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to let Dave finish the show off for me. Before I let you do that, I'll just say thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for making this a great show.
Well, it's good night from me, and it's good night from Penny, and see you here next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Take care, guys. I'm going to press the right button today.